Salute and welcome to the Stories and Cocktails podcast, where you will enjoy an entertaining short story from acclaimed humor columnist Rob Kreider. Story time is the family portion of the show. Then we move on from the stories to the cocktails. This is where the alcohol and the not safe for work portion of the show takes over, as Rob and his wife /editor /muse Sara Kreider partake in some adult beverages and provide you with a behind-the-scenes recap of what really inspired the original story. Put your feet up, relax, and enjoy yourself a round of stories and cocktails. Cheers.
This article's called Math Wars by Rob Kreider. Hey, that's me. When I come home from work each day, I walk right into the middle of a battlefield. On one side stands my son, tall, good-looking, 13 years old. When he's not being sarcastic, he's mumbling, rendering communication with him quite difficult. On the opposing side is my wife, whom I love, beautiful, has a degree in mathematics. She doesn't like to be wrong. Ever. These two endure a war of the worlds over math homework each and every night. Me, I'm Switzerland. I try to stay neutral. Math is one of those subjects that everyone struggles with growing up. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, because my wife, who is essentially a mathematical genius, never had a single string of numbers ever give her any grief. She's like vanilla ice. If there was a problem, I'll solve it. She's so smart at math, she can't even comprehend how dumb the rest of us normal idiots can be. Hence the ongoing conflict. If my son tells her, I don't get it, she looks at him as if she can't understand the words he's speaking. Her only response is, how can you not get this? In her defense, since my son is chronically sarcastic, if he says, I don't get it, that could actually mean that he does get it. But when he's talking about his math homework, he's giving it to her straight. He totally doesn't get it. My wife becomes frustrated, my son gets upset, and I get out of the room as quickly as possible. Growing up in America in the late 20th century, I learned that if I ever run across any type of dilemma, I just have to divert blame onto someone else. So for the war that rages in my house every night, I fully blame the math teacher. It's easy to blame the instructor. Come on, are there any other professions on the planet hated more than dentists and math teachers? The teacher should give less homework, make the problems easier, and allow the kids to use calculators. What could go wrong with that? Other than the obvious, where kids will grow up to be just as mathematically dumb as me, with my bank account overdrawn and credit card companies raping me on interest rates. Regardless of my attempts to blame the teacher, my wife and her firstborn continue to stress each other out on a nightly basis over the math homework. My son hates it, and my wife, who was actually a mathlete in high school, nerd alert, she still can't comprehend why our son can't grasp how 1/2 is actually bigger than 3/16. If you're counting on your fingers right now, trust me, 1/2 is larger. One of the reasons my son struggles with math is because his handwriting is atrocious. It's not that he can't add 2 plus 7, that's 9 people. He just can't add a backwards 5 plus a squiggly 7 that resembles a 9, making 14. He simply can't read his own writing. Remember the 3 R's in school, reading, writing, and arithmetic? He can't read what he writes, so his arithmetic is a disaster. Here's an example of a typical night in the numbers war zone. My wife will ask, did you finish your homework? No, says my sarcastic son, which means yes. She'll ask him, did you check your answers? He says, I don't need to. The teacher checks them for me. My wife will correct him. No, your teacher grades them for you and gives you a bad grade. You're getting a D in math because you won't check your answers. D stands for done, Mom. D also stands for dumb. You don't want to be dumb like your dad, do you? Again, my son comes up with a sarcasm. No one's that dumb. The wife tries to bring things back into perspective. Then you need to check your work. Bring me your paper. This is the part of the evening when my son goes into his room and rummages through his backpack. Eventually, he comes out with a wrinkled, torn, eraser-marked piece of scrap paper with some hieroglyphics on it. Here it is. My wife looks at it. You missed the first problem. No, I didn't. The teacher did the first problem on the board, and I just copied it down. Son, 10 plus 6 does not equal 19. He looks at it. Oh, maybe that 6 is a 9. My wife asks, or is the 9 a 6? You need to make sure you copied the problem down correctly. My son argues, it's not my fault the teacher wrote it down wrong on the board. My wife's done. You sound like your dad. Blame someone else. The teacher didn't write the problem wrong. You copied it wrong. I hate math. Don't say you hate math. Math is what makes the world work. Okay, I love math then. Don't be a smartass. Okay, I'll be a dumbass. Do you want my help or not? No, I want to play Wii. The Wii uses math. When I use Wii, I just use the controller. In the end, my son is no better at adding 2 plus 2, or maybe it was 2 plus 7. Who knows with this kid's handwriting? My wife is no more understanding. She's just too smart to teach us mere mortals. And me, I just stayed in the shade and out of the way. Just another Tuesday night at our house, folks. By the way, full disclosure, I took Algebra 1 3 times.
Okay, folks, it's time to pop that top and let's get to those cocktails.
Hey, welcome to Stories and Cocktails Podcast, drunken portion of the motherfucking show. Coming to you live on tape from the Central Coast, California. We have the RV Tiki here, parked right at the Pacific Ocean in Cayucas, California, just north of San Luis Obispo, where we met 30 years ago.
Yeah, yes, we did. Earlier, you surprised me when you told me this is our 30th episode.
Yes.
So I figure hopefully it's like our fourth good one.
Maybe our second good one.
I don't know. I mean, it might not be good. You know what I mean?
Actually, this might not be good at all.
It might be our 41st episode before we get another good one in. I'm just saying. They can't all be good.
No.
But it's funny that this is, or apropos maybe that this is the 30th episode, because we've been kicking around the Central Coast for, I don't know, about a week and a half now or so. Morro Bay, San Luis, all our old haunts. And you've been throwing around this word. And I haven't been responding because I've just been like, I don't want to encourage you.
Yeah, you don't like it.
I just don't know what to say when you just throw it out there. And you throw it out there so aggressively, or assertively. We drive 2 miles and you're just like, hey, we're in the Central Coast. It's our 30th bang-a-versary. And I don't respond. And I should know better. Not responding, you never get the hint. Then we drive 2 more miles. And you're like, hey, did you hear me? We're getting close to our 30th bang-a-versary.
Well, some people celebrate anniversaries, how many years they've been married. Some people celebrate their first date, but we didn't really date. We haven't really been together for 30 years, but we banged each other 30 years ago. We both met at summer quarter at Cal Poly, and we banged each other right away. And so that was 30 years ago. That was 1994. Now it's 2024.
You've been celebrating it for a week. You've been celebrating it since we got here. And we got here just shy of June 1st. We got here May 31st. And you started celebrating the 30th bang-a-versary right away. But, as anniversaries go, they're usually one day. They're not a whole week. They're certainly not a week and a half. So what is our actual bang-a-versary?
It was Saturday night, the first week of school.
And what was that date?
June something.
Yeah, see? You don't know the date.
Well, I don't know because it wasn't even that long. It was a minute and a half. You know what I mean? It wasn't a whole day.
So we know circa early June.
Yeah, early June, first week of school, 1994, Cal Poly, summer quarter. We go to Pirates Cove at Avila.
We can agree on all of that.
We have sex in the dirt.
We just don't have a date.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to get behind this bang-a-versary, as you call it. It's hard for me to really celebrate it and get behind it when I don't have an actual date attached to it.
Like I said, it was only a minute and a half. It doesn't have a whole date. It's not a whole day. It's not it wasn't a wedding day.
Then if it was only a minute and a half, why are we celebrating it for 10 days?
Well, it's exciting.
It's
you know what I mean?
exciting.
We're 30th episode or 30th bang-a-versary. We're back on the Central Coast where it all started. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty exciting.
I do. It is romantic being back. It's always, and it doesn't need to be 30 years from me. I just always like coming back to the Central Coast and being at San Luis Obispo and reminiscing where we met, our completely dysfunctional relationship with you breaking up with me over and over and over again.
I can't really break up with you. You were never
romantic.
my girlfriend.
Exactly.
I never broke up with you. Just told you to stop coming over.
The shame and the guilt I felt every time I kept coming over.
Why are you here?
You definitely played hard to get. The problem is you also played easy to fuck. It was very misleading to me. I was 18 years old. I didn't really understand shit. So you being so easy to fuck, I thought for sure that meant this guy's going to love me forever. For 30 fucking years.
I'm still here now. I just don't think it wasn't love at first bust a nut. You know what I mean? It wasn't an instantaneous situation.
You're celebrating our 30th bang-a-versary, whatever day it might be. I'm going to just say arbitrarily June 12th. So we're still a little bit early, right?
It might be.
What I celebrate.
So it's like a festival. We should have a parade through town.
It's going to be a whole month festival. Everyone thinks June is Pride Month, which I like to celebrate Pride, but you're over here celebrating our bang-a-versary.
Yeah, the bang-a-versary, the month of the bang.
Well, you're celebrating the bang-a-versary. I'm celebrating what I call the wuss-a-versary.
Oh.
Do you know this?
I don't know this.
It's the day before the bang-a-versary. It's when you actually 29 episodes. Everyone has heard me call you a nutsack.
Yes.
This is not news to anyone. I call you a wuss. I call you a nutsack. When I'm forgetting my manners and I'm forgetting that this word denigrates women, I call you a pussy.
Yep.
I've called you all of those names.
I deserve those names.
But the thing is I shouldn't call you those because I knew you gave me fair warning. 24 hours before
the bang-a-versary.
The bang-a-versary, you showed your true colors. You were just like, I'm a nutsack. I can't do this. I'm not cool. I'm not tough. I'm a big baby. I should probably go run home to my mommy. I'm afraid of girls. I'm afraid of you. You showed it all. So for me, 30 years later, to be like, you're such a nutsack and make fun of you, you just need to say to me like, you had full warning and you still went in. Still went in full tilt.
You still said, this is my guy.
I did.
I want this guy.
Yeah.
Big mistake. You fucked up, kid.
I did.
You fucked up, bud. Big time. Not good. So my recollection was a bit different. I remember this. You had a very, very short pair of green shorts on. You had the greatest butt I'd ever seen. I was like, man, that girl's got a great ass on her.
Thank you.
You also had a lesbian haircut.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that. So, and nothing against women who are gay. You just looked like a gay woman who wasn't a gay woman. So it was confusing to me.
Like,
right?
I had really bad hair. I have really, really, really thin, straight hair, and I was swimming. You put my hair in chlorine every single day, 2 times a day.
Well, at the time, you were a Division I collegiate swimmer for Cal Poly. So you had this like bleach blonde, short lesbian hair. You were wearing a dolphin t-shirt. You had these really short green shorts on. I was like, that's nice butt, but I'm not really sure I'm into this haircut. It's like, maybe I'll just give this one a pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then we all jump into like some cars one night, like people do in the dorms. We all bombed out to the beach.
Not to cut you off, but speaking of Pride Month, so this was June of 1994, and we move into the dorms, and yes, that was definitely my look. You forgot I had a lot of earrings. I had really, really, really short hair, so I put a shitload of earrings in my ears.
That's true. You did have an inordinate amount of earrings.
Right, to try to make up for, like, if my ears are adorned with jewelry,
right,
I will look less like a lesbian and more like a straight girl. And so we go into the dorms, and I'm trying to make new friends. You know, we're all there. We're trying to make, it's a new place and brand new in college, trying to make new friends. And there's this group of girls, and they're in the main hall of the dorm room, and they're doing something. They're decorating for a party, and they look like they've done this before. They look like very confident, like they belong there. They're definitely like juniors and seniors. Like, I'm just this little freshman in the dorms.
They're the cool kids.
They're the cool kids.
Yeah.
And they all knew each other. It's like this whole friend group, you know? And I see this other girl, and I say girl because we're talking about like college girls, you know? And she is like my fucking twin. She has short hair. It was the Wilson Phillips, the China Phillips haircut, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who had short hair, we were doing the China Phillips thing.
Was also a girl on Melrose Place had that same haircut. What was her name?
I don't know. But none of these women that we're talking about, none of these actresses or songwriters or what, you know, China Phillips and the Melrose Place girl, they're not lesbians. They just had short hair.
But we all called them lesbian haircuts. We were fucked up in the 90s.
I didn't know that. Yeah, no, maybe you were. I didn't know
Well, I
that.
definitely was.
So I see this other girl, and she has the same haircut as me and China Phillips and the chick from Melrose Place. She's got a lot of earrings like I do. I swear, I'm not making this up. She's wearing like a dolphin t-shirt and shorts. And I'm just like, you're older. You guys like all have friends. Like, you're doing this like cool thing. You're decorating the common room of the dorms. Like, I'm going to make friends. So I just gravitate towards her. I'm just like, please be my newest best friend. And we are hitting it off like crazy, and everything's great. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what are we decorating for? And I like look up, and this was like, I don't even think it was Pride back then.
It was not in 1994.
This huge banner goes up, and it was like, you know, like welcome parents, or like welcome, and it was like P flag.
Parents and friends of lesbians and gays.
I was like, oh, this is super cool. I'm so glad that I'm living here on the dorms. I'm at this college where this is like this cool thing
Higher
that we're
learning,
doing.
yeah.
And P flag, and I'm not a parent, but I'm a friend of lesbians and gays, and like, this is awesome. Like, let me hang some shit up too. Like, then all of a sudden, in all my enthusiasm, it dawns on me for a minute. I'm like, oh, you look exactly the same as me. You're doing the same look as me. Like, is there a reason why no boys have asked me out since I got here?
Especially that Rob Kreider.
Am I misrepresenting myself? Like, I didn't mind so much. It's not like this insult when you're like, you look like a lesbian. It's just, apparently I was portraying something that I didn't want to portray. I wanted to portray like, hey, boys, I'm available.
I'm open for business.
I'm open. Please ask me out. Like, it turns out actually, like, I'm this, I don't know, this freaking thirsty little girl, as the kids say now. I'm this thirsty little girl over here from Clovis.
Thirsty little freshman girl.
Yeah, looking to expand her horizons.
Put some notches on her belt. And boys were like, really?
And I am selling a different look.
Yeah,
than
no
I
one's
thought.
buying what you're selling. But did she ask you out?
No, so then I looked at her and I was like, oh, okay, so like P flag. And I'm kind of looking around at all the other girls and, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And, and then I was like, hey, do you know you kind of look like a straight girl? You look like me and I'm straight. So do you know you're kind of doing a straight girl look? And she's kind of like, oh, honey, you think that's the misunderstanding?
Yeah. I was like, I have a fucking home run record on the softball team here. I am not a fucking straight girl.
I didn't change, though. I didn't change how my hair looked or, I just kept on doing my thing. And I just said, like, yeah, people will figure it out.
Well, when you go to college, you're trying to reinvent yourself. I certainly was. I was a junior college kid. I went to junior college to get a 2-year degree. It took me 3 years because I was a moron. And then when I got to Cal Poly, I was going to reinvent myself.
You thought I was trying to reinvent the moral of that story was just I didn't reinvent myself.
No, I think you're trying to reinvent yourself as a straight girl. Like you just didn't know it.
I just kept that same look. I mean, everyone in high school knew I was a straight girl. I came to college and I looked exactly the same. I'm like, I don't know why you guys can't all figure it out.
You should have tried to reinvent yourself when you got to Cal Poly, like I did. That's what I meant to say.
I haven't reinvented myself ever.
It's true. No, you have always been you, which is crazy. So I was trying to reinvent myself. I showed up to Cal Poly and I was like, okay, I am going to be a surfer guitar player dude, right? I'm going to be Eddie Vedder. And so I grew my hair out before I got there. I had a guitar and I had a surfboard. Now, full disclosure, I couldn't play a fucking 3 chords on that guitar and I could not surf that fucking surfboard for shit. In fact, I couldn't even really swim. I wasn't very much of a swimmer.
I found all that out too late.
The hard way.
Yeah.
But I did have a plan. So as you move into the dorms at Cal Poly, we were in Sierra Madre dorms. It's a lot of stairs to get up from the parking lot. It's fucking a lot of work. None of us were fat at Cal Poly. We had to walk upstairs. A lot of elevation at that school. So I decided I'm going to walk up the stairs carrying my guitar and my surfboard and walk up the steps. And I was going to make a little production of it, right? Because I'm like, okay, hey, ladies, Eddie Vedder has just showed up at fucking Cal Poly. I'm taking phone numbers. Let's go. So I did that and I walked up. And what I found out was that I really, really captured the heart of 2 young high school boys from Clovis. Your little brother Skylar and his friend Matt. Yep. They, unbeknownst to me, went running back to you and said, we saw the coolest guy.
So when you grow up in Clovis, you are 2.5 hours away from the beach. So you're close enough to where your parents will bring you over here for vacation and you might get to learn how to surf or boogie board a little bit, but you're far enough away that you never really get to like be a surfer.
Yeah, be part of that lifestyle.
So that lifestyle is just close enough for us to be aware of it.
You want it so badly.
Want it. And then in addition to that, the high school that I went to had a hair code for boys. So boys, their hair couldn't grow any longer than like their earlobes.
You went to a fascist school.
Yeah, you used to tell me that in college. You used to say that to me until I turned to you and I said, what's fascist even mean?
Define fascism?
Yeah, and then you shut up real quick. But anyway, so I go to this school where no boys are allowed to have long hair. Surfing is like just within arm's reach, but
too far away.
Too far away. So long hair and surfers became very romanticized. So I was like, I'm going to Cal Poly. I'm going to San Luis Obispo. I'm going to meet a surfer who has long hair and I'm going to marry him. And
joke's on you, girl.
And, like that was it.
You met a boy from Napa.
Skylar.
Even farther from the beach.
Skylar and Matt, they wanted to also go to Cal Poly. They were a couple years younger than me, so they're still in high school, but they wanted to also go to Cal Poly and they wanted to become surfers with long hair. So
they're helping you move in. They're walking around.
It's Sarah's first big day at school. The whole family had to come move me in. Like grandma came, Skylar came, but my mom's like, Skylar's not going to behave unless he gets to bring his buddy Matt or whatever. So they both came, or I don't know. Maybe my mom was like, hey, you guys keep getting good grades in high school. This could be your future.
Also, lug all this shit up these fucking stairs. Yeah. That was good labor to bring to
So there's all these little starry-eyed kids, all being me, Skylar, and Matt from Clovis, from the valley, and we're all on the lookout for the long-haired surfer. And sure enough, here you come, and you had grown your hair like just long enough, and you're carrying your surfboard. So they reported back to me right away. And Matt was learning how to play the guitar. Turns out, as a sophomore in high school, Matt could already play the guitar
way better than me.
Million times better than me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And your brother, even though he was from Fresno, could surf better than me too. So you didn't really catch a catch.
Yeah, no, they both could surf better than you. Like they would go on to both be phenomenal surfers and beach lifeguards. And,
yes.
Later
they actually did live the life.
They would be like, dude,
I was a poser the whole way.
That guy that we thought was so fucking cool. Like we had to save that version of that guy over and over and over again when we worked at Avalon
as lifeguards.
Like that guy can't even fucking swim.
Oh yeah, I've been pulled in by lifeguard.
But they did. They reported back to me. They're like, Sarah, we just saw the coolest fucking guy. Oh my God, you're going to love college so much. They were very excited for me. Like it was, like a really supportive moment. And they're this guy.
Well, they knew that someday you'd be celebrating your 30th bang-a-versary on this guy.
This guy has long hair and he was carrying a guitar in one hand and a surfboard in the other. I'm just like, that sounds fucking awesome. Can you get mom and dad and grandma the fuck out of here?
Don't forget, get my CDs and put them up here in my room. So the plan was I was trying to meet girls. I met high school boys. And so, it's kind of a miss on my part. And then,
They reported back to me. So I didn't see you, but they reported back to me. And it didn't take me that long to find you.
Oh, really? You're like, oh, this is the fucking,
well,
this is the poser right here.
So it being the summer quarter, we got to lay the scene here.
Yes.
So it being the summer quarter, only I don't know, 2 dorm towers were even open for business. There weren't people moving in the door. It was a super, I don't really know the numbers, but let's just say your regular quarter enrollment is 10,000 people. I think for the summer quarter, enrollment is 1,000 people. And there were, what do you think, 50 of us living in the dorms?
Yeah, it was small numbers. It was a very small community. We all partied together for a whole quarter. It was super fun.
Yeah. So there's maybe 50 of us moving into the dorms that day. 38 of us are freshmen.
Yep.
And it being the summer quarter, I graduated from high school on Thursday, and I literally came over to Cal Poly and I started school on Monday. So we are
banged me on Saturday.
We are not even really college freshmen.
Now I'm feeling guilty. Damn near had sex with a high school girl.
We are high school seniors still, basically.
You're not making me feel better about it.
We still had, some of us still had the fucking confetti from our graduation in our hair.
Right,
you know what I mean?
You still had your high school parking permit in your back window.
I did. So there's 38 of us that are college freshmen / high school seniors still, and there's 12 that are the transfers.
Yes.
And this is why I say it only took us a minute to stiff you out. I don't know how this happened, but it was the only transfers in the dorms were guys.
That's
so that
true.
whole floor, and it's not true now that I think back about it. Jen, who lived next door to me, she was a transfer, but there was enough transfer boys to commit a whole floor.
Third floor Sierra Madre was
We
us.
literally called it the transfer floor.
Yeah, transfer dorm.
Because we realized right away, this whole third floor.
The guys who can buy you alcohol,
they all live there.
Are on the third floor of Sierra Madre.
That's why everyone, all 38 people living in the dorms, we all sniffed out that transfer floor right away. Now the girls had a serious advantage. When we came up the stairs, you guys said, welcome, ladies. When the boys came up the stairs, you guys were like, wrong floor, motherfuckers. Get out of here.
This is transfer dorms only, motherfucker. Yeah, we were so shitty, those poor freshman boys, dude. I'm like, listen, we're going to hog up all these freshman chicks.
So we did. We ran up those stairs to the third floor as quickly as we could. We were like, hey, we heard you guys are the transfer students. You guys are 21. You guys got booze up here.
Joke was on you. I was 20.
Yeah, but everyone else up there was, you were just a few months shy of your 21st birthday.
Yes.
So anyways, yes, I met you right away. And my brother and Matt, they didn't lie. Actually, all of you transfer guys up there, I would say you were all posers, but it turns out there's a good handful of you weren't. You could actually fucking surf. A good handful of the transfer boys
weren't posers. Some could play guitar, some could surf. I could do neither.
You could do neither.
But I was perpetuating to everyone as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And I could do both. And I could not swim and I could not play guitar.
So we run up there and there you are. When I say Skylar and Matt weren't wrong, you had long hair, you had the right tools.
I had a Channel Island surfboard and a fucking Gibson guitar.
You had the accessories. You were checking all of the boxes, So I did, right away. I was just like, oh, that Rob on the third floor, that transfer Rob, he's a hottie. I kind of called dibs on you. I know you men think that only men do that. We women do that too. So I pretty much called dibs on you. He's mine. He's a hottie. He's mine. And I kind of set my sights on you a little bit. Now, I met you and I was like, hey, let me get to know you. Let me talk to you about surfing and guitar playing. And you were like, actually, I'm a writer.
I did do that.
And that was my first episode of Rob Kreider's Show and Tell. And so again, that's another
Would you like to read some of my humor columns?
That's another thing I make fun of you for. I'm always like, dude, it's not Rob Kreider's Show and Tell. Move on. People aren't interested. I had fair warning. My first interaction with you, you pulled out. I was blurry-eyed. I'm just barely learning how to drink. You were
drinking Goldschlager.
Oh, it's like little Sarah's first drink at college. And then you stick this huge portfolio in front of me that's every article you ever wrote.
Published.
Now, at 20 years old, your third year in college or whatever, you had a very impressive catalog of things that you
Well,
had
thank
written.
you. I was a published author.
But in the midst of a party, to throw that at me, and this like little tiny newsprint, and you're just like, quickly read everything I ever wrote. And I was just like, and then I think like
I'm like, isn't this how Hemingway got chicks? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think I feigned interest for like a minute, and then I was like, oh, okay, like I'll read these later. Like I can't wait to come back up here and read these later. It was like setting up a second date, you know what I mean? And you just like wouldn't take no for an answer. I think you took it back and you actually started reading aloud to me, like passages. It's so funny because the memory right now is like so strong that I was part like,
I really just
this
kiss
is
you.
a little bit
I want to
douchey,
kiss you a little bit.
but I still want to make out with this guy. I called dibs. I'm going the distance.
But this is me. I couldn't get out of my own way, dude. I'm like, hey, I know that I'm perpetuating myself as a fucking surfer guitar player, and we're in my dorm right now, so I don't have to prove either one to you, and you're into it. And I'm like, hey, I'm also a writer.
Yeah.
And then no one cares about that, but I want to show you, like, I'm really successful as a writer. Like, check it out. But then the first time you read something I wrote, you're like, this is all grammatically incorrect.
I know. I waited to tell you that.
But you did notice it. You're like, this is actually really shitty.
Oh, yeah. I was like, dude, this guy doesn't know where a fucking comma goes to save his life. Like, I hope
How did this shit get published?
I hope he surfs better than he writes. Because this...
Well, I didn't.
I
I didn't play guitar better either.
I'm like, hey, this is your third year of college, you say? Like, where did you go to college the first 2 years? Because...
That would be called junior college, where you learn nothing.
But
they will publish it.
I was still basically a high school senior, and I knew how to write better. So I'm just like, what do? In junior college, do they take the knowledge that you learned in high school and like you unlearn it? Did you actually get dumber in junior college?
I did.
Because how is it that I know where a fucking comma
I just
goes?
smoked weed, so I did get dumber in junior college.
I'm reading your shit, and I'm just like, this is one whole paragraph. It's one sentence.
That's how Jack Kerouac wrote On the Road. He just wrote one sentence, and then his wife came back later and threw in a few capital letters and periods. And very successful book.
Have you read The Road?
I have. On the Road.
On the Road.
I have read it twice.
Okay. So this is the same, what you're doing right now, this is exactly the same thing that you did when we first met in college. Anytime that I challenged your expertise in something, you're just like, well...
Have you read Kerouac?
Yeah, I mean, obviously...
Maybe unfamiliar with the process of being
You're like,
a writer.
you've never read Kerouac. Nietzsche? Have you read, and then
Nietzsche.
Nietzsche, exactly.
Friedrich Nietzsche.
Oh, you came from this
more that you
fascist high
possess, the
school?
more that possesses you.
Friedrich Nietzsche. And then you started in on like, I bet you don't even fucking
You're
know.
probably a fucking fascist.
You don't even know who Hunter S. Thompson is. I'm
Yeah.
just
Have
like,
you read Hunter S. Thompson?
I'm like, I don't.
Because
But
I was in high school 2 days ago.
I'm not sure you do either, but keep saying those things to me and I'll keep thinking you're cool. Because that was really the crux of it, is that
So the joke's on you.
I
Because,
was 18 years old. I was buying most of it.
Yeah.
Hook, line,
You came in and, I showed you that I was a dork, and then you fucking came back for some reason. You're like, yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah. No, so
It's
you
fine.
showed me. So I know.
He's not even a very good writer. I'm going to fuck him anyways.
So I've never asked this before.
Oh,
and
shit.
I probably don't want to ruin our bang-a-versary June celebration, month-long bang-a-versary celebration with this question, but I am curious.
Sure.
How many other college girls did you throw your book out at? Have you read my shit?
At Cal Poly or prior to that?
At Cal Poly.
Oh, at Cal Poly.
Yeah.
I would say 0.
Really?
I think that first night I could tell it didn't go well. I was like,
Oh.
no, I don't think that she liked this.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe don't bring this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then just get a job at a local magazine, then everyone will know you're a writer, which I did like right away. I got a job writing for Intune magazine.
Well, we all knew you were a writer because you had a real computer.
No, I had an Apple IIe.
Yeah, that's a real computer. The rest of us had these like word processors. We had really nice word processors that we got for our high school graduations because we were just barely out of high
Right,
school.
2 days out of high school.
You actually had an Apple IIe that you carried up the stairs. Now, who knows? There could be some unknown little brother of some other girl who was seeking out a completely different college fantasy than
This
I
guy's
was.
got an Apple IIe.
This guy's got an Apple IIe. Look at him go. And we'll never
But they
know.
made fun of me for that. So somebody walked in, they go, shouldn't that be in the Smithsonian? I'm like, fuck you, man. I'm a writer.
In 1994, they made fun of the Apple IIe?
Yes.
What'd they have?
They had a Windows computer. This is when Apple started shitting
Oh.
the bed when the Mac came out. I didn't have a Mac.
Dude,
had
I
an
was the
IIe.
poor kid. I had like a brother. I think it was
Brother,
called
yeah.
Brother word processor.
Yeah, your brother word processor has less memory than my brother P-Touch label maker at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I could only type like one sentence at a time. But it was super cool because if I made a mistake, I didn't have to get the white tape out.
Right.
I could just delete on the screen.
We actually grew up through this part of this technological revolution.
A normal length sentence. That wouldn't be one of your paragraph long sentences. The brother word processor would have made you a better writer.
Probably.
Because you would have been typing and
I gotta stop.
I gotta stop. I gotta
return and move on. Exactly. So yeah, just so you know, and I'm not lying to you, I did not try to seduce other women with my portfolio of published work at Cal Poly because that was a pretty big fail. I was like, maybe I should learn another chord.
Well, wait.
And then play my guitar as fast as I
Why
could.
do you say that it was a big fail? I mean, we are here celebrating our 30th bang-a-versary. It seems pretty fucking successful to
We
me.
didn't bang that night.
No, we didn't. Not that night.
I dried you right up with that. You're like, this guy doesn't know how to use a comma, so now no.
Well, you were playing, even then you were playing like a little bit hard to get.
I was because I thought you were into women. And people that are better at grammar.
So you're trying to reinvent yourself, but at heart, you're a storyteller and you're a comedian. So you start telling these stories that have a lot of bravado and I'm one of the transfer guys. Like we've been around the block. We're more experienced. We're older. And
yeah, I didn't graduate from high school 2 fucking days ago.
At 20 years old, what comes out of those stories is a lot of like sexual bravado, right? So you were really trying to sell yourself as this experienced worldly Casanova.
Yes.
I've
had a lot of miles behind the wheel of a woman.
Yeah, I've had a lot of miles behind the wheel of a car because you still were selling. I'm a race car driver.
Yeah.
I'm a race car driver. I've read a lot of philosophers and on the road and alternative. I don't even know what you call those fucking books. Hunter S. Thompson. Who gives a shit? And also, I've been with a lot of women. I was like, okay, I don't care.
Great.
That doesn't
Sounds
threaten
good.
me.
You know where the clearance is. Do it.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, I came to college for some new fucking experiences with a surfer. You know what I mean? Like, you will do.
I will take what you're selling.
And you were very open and forward. So I was like, you're not going to make it weird. You're not going to slut shame me. You're not going to make me feel like shit afterwards. We'll still be friends. Now, in that sense, I was right. It's just you weren't as ready to go as you sold.
So we don't make love the first night.
No.
You read my stories, you find out that I'm bad at grammar, and you leave. And so I fuck that up. Then one night, it's like the second night or whatever. It's just one of those things that happens in the dorms. People are like, hey, let's all jump in this car. We're going to go.
It wasn't the second night. Give me a little more credit. It was because I know we started school and you walked me to like one of my classes and we hadn't.
What a gentleman.
I know. And we hadn't banged yet since it's the bang-a-versary. So I know a couple of days went by.
Had gone by, okay.
Now, I was fast, but I wasn't that
I don't
fast.
remember walking you to class. You tell me that story. I'm like, if you say I did, I guess I did.
Oh, I remember because you were like the hottie that I called dibs on and we were all eating lunch and it was like, where are you going next? Where are you going? And you said, oh, I've already been to that part of campus. I'll show you where your class is. And I was like, oh, Rob the hottie is walking me to class.
I'm going to bang this motherfucker. I'm going to bang him.
Yeah. So that didn't go so well for me.
Okay, so a few days in, one of those things in the dorms, everyone's like, hey, we're all piling cars, we're going to the beach. So I get inside Doug's car. He's one of the transfer dorm guys. I jump into his back seat, and then you climb into the back seat, and just randomly. I don't even know.
Because I had a plan.
I didn't know that you were coming. I didn't know you were going to sit back there. So
I was
drive to the beach.
I was going to lose my Cal Poly virginity. Because, I'd already lost my high school virginity. I was going to lose my Cal Poly virginity.
I didn't realize you're Hyman.
So
like,
you.
held yourself back together before college.
Hey, virginity is what you make of it. You know what I mean? It's...
I think they're pretty clear about what virginity is.
Nah, it's something.
That's what you make of it now.
Nah, it's a fucking patriarchal structure set in place to make girls feel shame, and I can redo my virginity whenever I fucking feel like it. I really can.
So this isn't just a 30-year bang-a-versary. This is when I popped your cherry.
Cal Poly
cherry.
Your
Cal Poly cherry.
Yeah.
I popped it.
Yeah. Did you?
No. Well, I believe I did. Maybe you have more information. I'm not aware. I know you kissed some other dude before you got your cherry popped by me, but I think I popped your cherry.
The thing is that night that we went to the beach, it was a very ripe, eager cherry, right? You could have popped it. By the time you finally got around to it, because you fucking chickened out, by the time you finally got around to it 24 hours later.
You're like, I'm not a virgin anymore.
I was like, it's not as ripe anymore. It's kind of a wilted cherry. I'll let you. Exactly.
This is available to anyone on campus.
I had a really good plan, fucking 24 hours.
I'll fuck my instructor. I don't give a shit.
And now it's just...
So we get in the car and then we drive to the beach. And if you've ever been in the back of a Camaro, they're hard to get out of the back. And so everybody else piles out. We're at some beach. And I go to get out and you say, wait.
Well, so I had hatched a plan. So San Luis Obispo, the dorms, to Avila Beach is probably 16 minutes?
Sure.
1994, not a lot of traffic, late at night, so 16 minutes. So I spent 16 minutes coming up with the greatest line ever.
It was a pretty dope line.
I was like, how can I communicate that I would like to have sex with this guy right now on the beach? This is a dream that I have. I have chosen him.
I want my cherry popped
He
at
seems
this beach.
like a very safe place. And so I had 16 minutes to come up with this because this seemed like the right scenario. You know what I mean? Like late at night, dark, the beach, like I always wanted. And, because I had been in Clovis, I didn't really know the beach is actually cold.
Yeah, sex on the beach is actually not good.
It's really not.
No, it's not what you're looking for.
You know what? It's not.
On paper, it sounds good,
It's
but
not
it's
a good
not logistically
cocktail,
good.
even. Like, I don't even like sex on the beach, the drink. And
No.
yeah, sex on, I mean.
Little sand, little wetness, bad.
Yeah. So anyways, I didn't know that at the time though. So I come up with the greatest line ever. And what did I say to you?
Well, I remember very clearly. About to get out of the back of this Camaro, and then you say, hey, hold on a second. I want to ask you something. I'm like, okay, lesbian girl, what do you need? And then you're like, thanks for making me feel bad about my writing, whatever. You're like, hey, I wondered if you have a condom and if you wanted to use it with me. And I was like, oh. Jesus, that was very forward. I just came from 3 years of junior college where I still had to convince every girl I had sex with. And let's be honest, that was like 2 people, maybe 3 or 4. Like, will you be my girlfriend and I'll take you, I'll meet your parents and we'll go on 4 fucking dates and you get laid at your hometown. So it took me a while to score. You know what I mean? I had never been in a situation where a girl says, hey, bro, you got a condom? Because if you do, you can put it on your penis and put it inside me as fast as you can on this beach. So it took me aback. I was like, holy fuck. Like, whoa, I wasn't even sure you were into dudes. And now you want to use a condom? Like, oh, fuck. Now, I did think to myself, well, at least you're into safe sex.
Oh, yeah. No, it was the 90s. We were all going to die of AIDS.
We're all going to die of AIDS. So I was like, well, she's into safe sex, and I do have a condom, because every nerd in fucking 1994 had a wallet with Velcro on it with a condom in it, so you could all see the outline of the condom. That thing had been sitting there for years. And so you scared the ever-living fucking shit out of me. It scared the shit out of me. And I was like, oh. And then I was just like trying to play this big brother role. I'm like, hey, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You know,
this is why this is also your wuss-aversary.
Let's just get, look, man, let's be friends. Like, we can get along.
No, I can't believe you don't remember what you really said. Because you had reinvented yourself as this Casanova, You stuck with it. I will give you this.
Oh, really?
So you said, you're like, look, 3 years of junior college, I had a reputation. And I had a really hard time shedding it. And everyone just thought I was like this lady crusher. And I'm just trying not to do that here. Like I'm looking for something, I don't know, a little more meaningful, or I'm just trying to not get that reputation. So I'm like, okay, you sold yourself as a Casanova. And now,
oh, Jesus.
Now you're playing this coy, like, oh, I didn't mean to. Oh, God, is that what you got from me? You thought I was like a ladies' man?
Whoops.
I think in the 90s we said a player. Oh,
I'm not a player.
You thought I was a player? Like, I'm not a player. Like, I was. I definitely was.
I'm trying to reinvent myself.
Yeah, I've been with so many chicks in Napa Junior College. I just don't want that. It's our first week. So I definitely, even though I can't remember the timeline, I'm positive you were like, it's our first week here.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Let's just let's let people get to know me before they see me as the player. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that reputation.
I can't just be banging every lesbian looking chick in the dorms. Like, that's going to blow it for me for the rest of the semester, man.
And I was like, okay, this is fucking embarrassing. I've never been so embarrassed. Like, I was like, okay, I hatched a plan. I came up with this line.
I threw the nookie out on a platter and he said no thank you.
Yeah, I finagled this whole thing so I would be in the back of the Camaro with him. Like, I had my sights set on this guy, and I just got
I rebuffed your advances.
You rebuffed I was very rebuffed.
Which you thought was impossible. Like, most people think like, well, if a girl decides it's going to happen, and you're like, hey, I'm down for it. And I'm like, well, hey, girl. That's,
yeah. You're like, no.
No, thank you.
Now, okay, for the record, I hadn't really tried this with anyone else. Like, I was just throwing it out.
Yeah, I mean, you were 3 days after high school.
Yeah,
at this point.
I didn't have a lot of practice with this shit. You know
right.
What I mean? I had boyfriends in high school, or boyfriend in high school, but that's it. You know what I mean? Like, this was new to me too. I thought this was how college worked.
You were breaking a new skill set.
Yes, I was. I just was like, hey, we're all in college now. I thought this is what we
just fuck each other now?
Yeah, with condoms.
Why are we going to make this complicated? Do you have one? Let's use it right now.
Now, no one else was around.
No one saw it.
But you and I, one thing that we have been true to ourselves for 30 years, and me for my whole life, and you for your whole life, we're oversharers. I mean, this oversharing now that we're doing in the 30th episode of the podcast, this has been our whole lives.
Why not have a podcast and just overshare everything?
So I could have just gone back to the dorms with all the girls and fucking said nothing.
You should just came back and said, Rob is gay.
Spared myself the embarrassment. I really could have. But I don't know, because anytime anything makes me uncomfortable or anytime anything gives me any kind of feeling, I just share it with everyone around me.
Yes.
So I tell everyone, hey, you guys, I tried to fuck Rob tonight and he rebuffed me. And they were just like, what? You know, like we're barely out of high school. Most of us are still virgins. I'm like, we're all still virgins because
we have college virginity.
We have our college virginity.
I was trying to pop my cherry tonight.
We have our Cal Poly virginity.
With that surfer kid.
Yeah.
And he said no.
I'm like, you guys obviously aren't paying attention, but I am. I was getting ready to win who loses their Cal Poly virginity first. It was going to be me tonight. Like, and I'm like, fuck. Did anyone else fuck tonight? Did someone beat me?
I picked the wrong douchebag.
Yeah. But I wanted to save face. The thing is like you could have thwarted this whole happy marriage right then and there. If I had been a different person, I could have just been like, fuck you. And I could have just walked away. You tell me no once, that's the only time I need to
You'll never see this punani again.
But I wanted to save face. So I said, give him 24 hours and he'll be knocking at my door. Now,
23 hours later.
That was a gamble.
I was like,
yeah.
Hey, girl.
That was a gamble.
I still have that condom. You want to use it?
That was some fucking confidence at 18 that I wish I had now. You know what I mean? To tell an entire group of freshman girls, just wait 24 hours.
Fucking
He'll
hours.
be knocking on my fucking
Watch
door.
him. He doesn't even know what dorm I'm in, but he'll be in this hallway looking for me.
Literally don't know where that confidence came from. I had an A cup. Like that was before I had my tits done. You know what I mean? Like apparently I looked like a lesbian. I don't know where that confidence came from other than I just know that where there's pussy, there's usually men sniffing around. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I laid a bet down. I put, what do you say in craps? You know, I don't know.
Put it on the cum line.
Yeah, funny. I put money on the cum line.
Pay it off.
And I said, he'll be back. Now, I don't know. If you hadn't, I would have lost even more face. That would have been like 2 times in a row that I just would have like.
Well, it didn't take long.
It didn't take long.
I went to farmer's market. I wanted to be even cooler. So I was like, hey, now I have this guitar and I have this fucking surfboard. I need a nose ring. So I didn't go to the right place where I'm like, hey, you know, give me the hoop, whatever. I just went to like Claire's and they just shot a fucking gun and put a stud in my nose.
It's terrible.
Fucking hurt like hell. So now I have this stud in my nose, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to fucking loop. And so I'm like, whatever. So I go out, I get a few pops in me, and then I'm looking for you. Like, I'm trying to figure out where you live. I know you're in the dorm somewhere.
You got a few pops in you.
Yeah, like drinks.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? I thought it was like sodas?
Yeah. I was like, you drank a couple sodas?
I got all hyped up on Pepsi.
So wait, do you actually remember, like, for certain, the day you got your nose pierced was that same day?
I don't know if that's the case. If that's the case, that'll be Thursday.
Because that could help us narrow it
I don't
down.
think it was the same day.
My investigative work would say, well,
Yeah,
it
that was Thursday.
That was Thursday.
I still think our bang-a-versary was probably Friday or Saturday. But I got my nose ring on Thursday. And then Friday or Saturday, I think maybe Friday we go out and I rebuff you. And then, will it have the nose ring when you asked?
I don't fucking remember. I didn't even know you had the nose ring until it fell in my fucking mouth.
Well, so we're going to get to that. So the next day, I'm looking for you. Like,
Yeah.
I got some alcohol and I'm trying to find you. And so now I'm like slumming it, like the freshman dorm area. I'm like, I'm walking around looking for this chick. Like, fuck, usually they all just come up to the 3rd floor. Now I'm down here trying to figure out where she fucking lives. I'm trying to find out, like, funny names on the whiteboards and shit. Like, that's how it was done back in the day. We didn't have texting each other. We had to fucking, like, we had to put some legwork in.
Yeah, you
like
had
some
to do your
investigative
homework.
work. I'm like, hey, short hair, green shorts, no tits. Oh, yeah. Lesbian girl who's not lesbian. Yeah, she said she'd be bitch. All the chicks are like, oh, look who's on our floor. Like, I didn't know. They're like, oh, look who's here. I didn't know that you would put a gauntlet down and said, like, watch this motherfucker. I'll be back in 24 hours. So, like, oh, she's right over there. Like, people were, like, laughing and directing me to your door. I'm like, hey, just back off, man. We're pretty close friends. So I'm helping her through some shit. She's made a lot of bad decisions. I'm trying to make some good ones for her. So I just fucking go and I'm like, hey, that night we're going to go to fucking Pirates Cove in Avila Beach. So we pile in a bunch of cars. And this night it's your fucking car. So you're like, we're all drinking. And you're like, who's going to get us there? And you're like, hey, I've got this car. Who wants to drive it? And I'm just like, well, I'm not driving it. Because even though we were responsible, we didn't drink and drive and we didn't have unsafe sex.
Yeah.
This is the thing about us. You and I have been very true to this our whole lives. We don't drink and drive and we didn't have unsafe sex.
That's
like,
true.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, Until later.
Well, yeah. Well, we were only with each other, so it wasn't unsafe.
It was perfectly safe for me. I knew exactly what I wanted.
A baby.
It's a little risky for you. Hey, that's what happens when you play hard to get and easy to fuck. It was
That's
so easy for me to lay my little honeypot trap. You know what I mean? And everyone thinks that honeypot is a euphemism for my vagina. No, the honeypot is literally the baby that we made.
Exactly. That is how our marriage started. So we all go to
Basically, I've been steering this ship for about 30 years.
Yeah.
now.
I was in charge for one night. But I did have the power after that, because I was in charge of that. I'm like, I'll decide when we fuck, right?
Yeah.
But that power lasted about a minute and a half. So we go to Pirates Cove. It's all kind of rushed. We run out to some dirt, grassy area.
Oh, yeah. No, it was supposed to be so romantic.
It was the most
Avila
unromantic
Beach.
sex you two people
And
could
we
have.
ended up in this like cave, like way up above the beach. So it wasn't sand, it was dirt.
Dirt.
And then in the most romantic of ways, your fucking nose ring falls into my mouth.
Yes.
And because it wasn't a nose ring at all. It was a nose stud.
No stud.
Didn't even have a back on
While I'm doing the 1.5 minute pump and dumping, with a condom on, my nose ring falls off. And then in true baller fashion, I'm more concerned about getting it back in my nose so the hole isn't closed.
Because you were like, oh
my God,
what happened? Where's my nose ring? Oh my God, my nose ring fell out. And I was like, yeah, it fell in my mouth. And you're like, what did you do with it? And I'm like, I don't know. I spit it out over there in the dirt. Like, are we going to finish or what? So then you had to scramble around in the dirt and try to find it. As a whole thing.
How could you ever fuck me again after that? It was such a disaster. I don't even know why we're celebrating the 30th bang-a-versary. It was the worst sex of my life.
You've been celebrating it.
Because I popped your college cherry, that's why.
You have been celebrating it this entire 10 days that we've been on the Central Coast, and I've just been ignoring you.
It was single-handedly the worst intercourse I've ever had. I think even when I lost my virginity, it went bad.
Yeah, no, it was pretty
pretty
lousy.
bad.
Which is why after that, we became very, very, very good friends.
Yes. We're like, you know what? We're just good friends.
Yeah. We both were kind of like, meh. Now, I won.
Yeah. We ended up getting together. You stopped taking your pill and you laid the honey trap
later.
pot. And
but I mean, like that night, like I won the college dorms. Like I got to go back to the dorms and I got to say, I'm the first girl that had sex here
in this dorm.
In the dorms. Yeah.
And now, I got the boy
I don't think anyone else knew they were even in that competition.
No, no one did.
No one else was playing that except for me. So what does that say about me?
You came back like, I'm the first girl to get laid. And I go to my dorm, I'm like, I had sex with a lesbian girl. Everyone's like, no one's impressed.
No one gives
No one gave a fuck. No one's like, good job, bro.
So we very quickly were like, I think we're better off friends. And we were friends for like a year before because it was pretty lousy second.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
There was a couple other times after that, and every time it was like, we're not cut out for this.
Yeah, we're just not, it's not really our thing.
But then a year later, it turns out we were very cut out for it, and it worked very, very well. At least I thought so.
I did too.
So we should wait till next year and celebrate. We're a year off.
That'll be the orgasm. This was the bang-a-versary. Nobody even came. Someone lost their nose ring. You saw you didn't have an orgasm. Fucking, that was the terrible sex.
Yeah, you couldn't have found an orgasm on my body to save your life.
No,
I mean, dude, at that point, you played guitar and you wrote stories better than you fucking knew a woman's body.
Yeah, terrible surfer, terrible sex.
So, yeah, a year later, we finally fell into bed together after we knew each other. And then that's when the whole you played hard to get. And,
easy to fuck.
Yeah, that's when I was like, hey, you're going to be my boyfriend now, right? Because we're best friends and we finally learned how to fuck each other really well.
Yeah, but I'm in a punk rock band. Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to have a girlfriend when you're in a band. That's not good for this whole look of the band. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, oh, really? Okay. Are we going to be mutually exclusive together? We're going to save sex. I'm like, oh, yeah, only with each other. Okay, great. We can stop using condoms. Awesome. Great. You're still on the pill? I absolutely am on the pill. Okay, fantastic. We're going to get along just fine. And then next thing I know, we got married with a shotgun. Our son Gus was born 9 months later. And we're here 30 years later and celebrating our bang-a-versary on the Central Coast.
And getting ready to go to our friend's wedding.
Yeah, so this is why it's so apropos, because we've been married for 27 years. Bang-a-versary 30 years ago. But we're going to a friend's wedding. We have two things to cover right now. One, what are you drinking?
I finished it. It was a mimosa, orange juice and rum.
I had Malibu, vodka, and a coconut ice. Super good. And two, we got to talk about the story. The story is called Math Wars, published March 16, 2010 in the Santa Maria Sun. Article I wrote after we hung out in the dorms the first night, so you couldn't judge how bad the grammar was. You actually helped me as my editor and fixed all my grammar when I started writing my humor column for the Santa Maria Sun. So you and Gus, now you are a math teacher.
So I struggled with this story. I was trying to follow the timeline. Gus was 13. What math was he struggling with? And why was I so insensitive? Why was I like, just get over it? Because I'm like reading it. I'm like, I'm a fucking math teacher. I never say to someone like, just fucking figure it out, or how do you not get this? And then I remembered I had started teaching, and then then I went down to part-time. And then this year, so he was in 7th grade and I just completely quit teaching. I remembered like, oh, that's right. I quit teaching because just like the story, my husband didn't even acknowledge that I was a teacher. My husband didn't acknowledge that I was a working mom. So yes, I had been a teacher. At this point in the story, when Gus was in 7th grade, I was no longer a teacher. I had to go into my boss, my very fresh, brand new career that I'd worked so hard to get to in college and all that stuff. I had to go and say like, I'm sorry, I have to quit because my husband doesn't want to find his own black socks.
Hey, principal, I can't work anymore because my husband can't make his own sandwiches.
Yeah.
So I can't have a job.
My administrator at the time was a lot more complimentary to you. And he was very much like, no, like, this is only your 2nd year. You have a lot of potential. Like, you're going to be a great educator. Please stay. Like, we value you. And I'm like, yeah, if my husband said these things, like if he valued me as an educator and a working mom, maybe this would work. But I'm like, we're just in our family. It's still 1942 and we're just not ready for this yet. This is just too much pressure on our marriage.
World War II is still going.
Yeah.
Rosie the Riveter has got to quit her job.
I'm not allowed to leave the house and go pursue my own interests and jobs because my husband needs a sandwich.
Yeah.
For his job. His job is very, very, very important. He's out saving lives.
Writing tinted window tickets, no front plate tickets on the Highway Patrol.
Yeah, no, it was
saving lives.
Very important. So anyways, Gus's 7th grade year. I am home and he's in math and I pushed him. In that year and a half of teaching, I learned enough to say, Gus, you're going to be in algebra in 7th grade. I pushed him into 7th grade algebra and that's where this nightmare came from. Like every single day, we just fought and fought and fought over his homework and his handwriting. But the story was a total mystery to me because I don't really remember that. I mean, once I read the story, it came back to me. But then once Gus got into 8th grade, it's like something clicked and he was just a math whiz. I mean, he totally was in advanced math all through high school and never had to ask me for help. His mathematical knowledge far outshined my own. By the time he was a junior or senior, he couldn't even ask me for help because I was like,
I have a degree in math. I can't help you, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't remember that shit.
I forgot that shit. I learned and purged that shit just to get my bachelor's degree and get a job teaching the youth, but I don't remember how to actually do this stuff.
It was a stretch through 7th grade.
I remember the story more specifically because ultimately you were so intelligent and your intelligence is far beyond mine. You always just like blew my mind with how smart you were. And then you blew my mind with how you couldn't understand how dumb I was or anyone else. So if we didn't understand something, you're just like, what, don't you get this? I'm just like, no. And so our son had that moment with you. He's like, I don't understand this. And I was awkward to watch you look at him like, what's up, bro? You're from my loins. Like, you got to be smart like me.
I don't recall ever being like, you don't get this. You don't understand this. I think my impatience with Gus was just, he wasn't really applying himself. He just didn't really care. He just was like, whatever. I mean, his handwriting was atrocious. His backpack was just like a little mini tornado had gone through it every single day.
Oh, yeah.
He was sarcastic, like the story. I mean, he was a 13-year-old boy. Like, they're the worst. And I know because then I did go back to work the next year and spent 15 fucking years with 7th grade boys, and they are the worst. Like, I can say that.
They are.
They're horrible. They're all like that. Their heads are just so far up their asses. Like, they don't know what's going on with their bodies. No one can explain it. It's like little aliens take over their bodies.
Well, we've actually separated them from society. Like, grade school and high school, like, nah. These 2 years, we got to put these little aliens off their own little island called junior high or middle school and let them just fucking do whatever they're going to do, and then we'll bring it back into society.
Yeah.
And you signed up to work there.
But see, when Gus was in 7th grade, I didn't have enough experience. So I didn't really know how to communicate with the 7th grade person, more specifically a 7th grade boy. I didn't really know. Like, I just thought like this was something horrible happening to my son. It turns out it happens to all of them. So I can't tell you. This is just a side note. When you work in middle school, I can't tell you how many parents come and they're pissed, right? Because like something happened or their kid has a D in math or whatever. And they're just like, my kid was a perfect fucking angel until I sent him to this school. This school ruined my kid. I'm like, dude, you could send your kid to 7th grade on the fucking moon and your kid is going to come back unrecognizable. It's not the school. It's 7th grade.
Exactly.
These kids are fucking fucked up. For a year, 2 years even, you will get your kid back a little bit, or you'll just be used to the new version of them in high school. And then I don't know, I think by the time they turn like 25 or 26, you sort of start liking them again.
I like Gus now.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just that awkward age between 12 and 25. You just got to push through. It's just, they enter that awkward age age in 7th grade. So 7th grade sort of gets like the brunt of
Well, it's awkward, man. You got puberty, your armpits stink, you got boners in class. You don't know. The last thing you give a shit about is the number line. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was seeing it happen in my own son, and I didn't know how normal it was. So I found it extremely irritating. I was like, you were a perfect angel until a year ago. Like, what the fuck? And, now you don't know math.
And put some deodorant on.
and wash your fucking hair.
Wash your fucking hair.
But by 8th grade, he was a little bit better. And then in high school, he just took on all the academics without us and didn't need our help with homework anymore or anything like that.
For sure.
But hey, you should thank me for having my foot up his ass all through 7th grade, because if he hadn't passed that math class, he wouldn't have gotten to go into geometry in 8th grade. And maybe that wouldn't have set him on his academic path. And maybe he wouldn't have been valedictorian. And maybe he wouldn't have gone to college for free. Like, basically, you should thank me for our son's success.
Don't you hear me every morning? I wake up every morning like, honey, I want to thank you again for shoving your foot up our son's ass when he was in 7th grade because of all of his success. I'm like, I just want to thank you for that. Good morning.
You should also thank me for our son's existence, since that was all my idea.
Yeah, but I hit the target. You just laid back on your back. That's all you gotten through your whole life, on your back. Me just working.
Wow.
Working my ass off.
Wow, this is the most romantic bang-a-versary
Well,
ever.
I think that's appropriate for the bang. That's how we did it the first time. Terribly. I really can't convey enough how bad that sex was. So fucking bad.
Wow, I'm really glad that we've explored this topic at length, because you've really gotten into the details there of how bad it was. When we were driving around, you're like, look, honey, there's where we used to buy a sandwich. And hey, look, sweetheart,
There's our old dorm room.
hey, it's our bang-a-versary. And isn't that cool? We've been banging each other for 30 years. And isn't that sweet? You never said. Also, it was so fucking lousy. It was the worst sex. I'm like, well, it was a little forced, Like, I had a competition I was trying to win, and you sent me back a day. So
Exactly. There were the clock was ticking, dude.
yeah,
You would let some other girl fucking win this shit?
So it was a little forced, and I had planned it out.
Maybe I should have a plaque made that we can hang up on our wall. I'm like, Sarah Kirby, 1994, first girl to fuck in the dorms. Yeah, poly summer semester.
No.
You don't want that?
No.
Put that right over the bar.
No. You do have a nice sticker, though, commemorating our bang-a-versary on this motorhome.
Yeah, so the RV Tiki, if you open the door, it says Rob and Sarah established 1994, Pirates Cove. And people go, oh, what's that? And I'm like, that's the first place we fucked.
Oh, it does say, it says Pirates Cove, and then it says Avila Beach. Because
Yeah, and it has a little pirate ship floating into Avila Beach.
Because Pirates Cove is in Avila Beach. But
Yes.
that's funny, because it actually sort of started. I started the foreplay at Avila Beach. It just took you 23 hours.
You were wrong. You said give it 24 hours. It wasn't 24 hours. I was back so fucking fast.
No, I said within 24 hours.
Oh. So give yourself an open window there.
I did. Yeah, I mean, you stressed me out a little bit when it was like the whole next day went by, and I'm kind of looking at the clock, and everyone around me is like making plans for the night, like, hey, where are we going? Where are we going? I'm like, well, I'm sticking around here, hopefully.
You can only find me one spot.
Yeah.
You can't just be roaming around Cal Poly. It's a very big campus.
We don't have fucking phones in our pockets where we can call each other.
Exactly. You can't use the internet. It doesn't exist
to
yet.
find me.
I have to wait right here with my door open. Maybe he'll come cruising by. I'm like, hey, is that girl? What was her name again? The lesbian? The girl with the short hair? So yeah, man, let's go out and celebrate our 30th bang-a-versary, and let's go to our friend's wedding.
Yep.
Ben and Amy are getting married today.
In the Central Coast, yeah.
In the Central Coast, man.
Let's get ready for that wedding.
And then tonight, she's going to lose her virginity.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I'm trying to get on board with this. You can make up your virginity as whatever you want it to be. You know what I mean? Like, mine just reset, like at noon. I have a new virginity today.
Well, you had what you called maintenance sex with me today. Obligatory sex.
Yeah. That was...
Was it better than the first time? Not much.
Not much different. Your nose ring didn't fall in my mouth.
No, it didn't.
No, you were just following me around this motorhome, humping my leg for like 2 or 3 days. It was just getting so desperate and so pathetic. And I don't know. I've been busy thinking about other things, and
You're making a blanket for
I'm
our friend's wedding.
menopausal, and so my hormones are all over the place. I just wasn't in the same space as you. But then this morning, I just looked at you and I was like, okay, come on, let's go. Let's just do like a maintenance fuck real quick. And you didn't like that. And I'm like, look, I can't keep kicking you off my fucking leg. Let's
Just
knock
this
it out really quick, And you were kind of like, yeah, but like,
Maybe you're just not good at sex on the Central Coast. Maybe that's what's going on. I'm like, it's our bang-a-versary. You're like, that's not good. I don't want to do that. I'm like, I still want to do it. I just want to get it done with.
The food here is too good. I'm really attached
just too full.
to the burritos.
Too many burritos.
Yeah. I'm like, we can
It's
bang.
hard to fuck when you're full.
We can bang in Fresno. I really want a burrito here. And there's great delis here, too.
Yeah. We'll go to home to Fresno, eat some salad, and we'll bang.
Yeah. But tomorrow, I want to hit the High Street Deli and get a deli sandwich. So
no sex tomorrow.
Yeah, a big old freaking sub sandwich, all that bread. I can't. I can't fit bread and your dick in my body
I know.
on the same day, in the same 24-hour
It's a
period.
lot. It's a lot. Damn you, High Street Deli. You're thwarting my sexual plans, man.
Hey, no, I bought a couple of days with that maintenance fuck.
You did. You did. It was, I think it's different. I think it's called, I shamed you into having sex with me, which a lot of married men do. Like, oh, please, it's been so long. And you sympathy fucked me. Basically, just fucked me out of sympathy.
Sympathy, maintenance is all the same thing.
I'll take it.
You're leaving me alone now.
I'll take it. I'm like, I'm fine. Let's go to the wedding.
With that, I need to get ready for the wedding.
Let's raise a glass for our 30th bang-a-versary.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And that was Last Call. You did it. You survived an episode of Stories and Cocktails. But did Rob or Sarah's liver survive the show? I don't know. Tune into the next episode to find out, to enjoy some more stories and some more cocktails. By the way, if you want to support the debauchery of the show, then buy the host their next round by Venmoing a couple of gold doubloons at Stories and Cocktails. Back in the day, a gold doubloon was only $4 Spanish. Who knew? Well, folks, I'll be right here behind the bar, cleaning the glassware and awaiting your return to the Stories and Cocktails podcast. Cheerio, friends.
If you enjoy hearing Rob Kreider's different humor columns here on the Stories and Cocktails podcast, then I promise you will love his novel, Cadet Blues. Cadet Blues is Rob's hilarious tell-all about desperately trying to survive the shock and awe boot camp-style training at the California Highway Patrol Academy. People from all different walks of life have come to love this book because Cadet Blues is simply a crazy good read. Heartfelt, inspiring, and damn funny. It's available in paperback through Amazon, eBay, or cadetblues.com, where you can get free shipping and a personalized autographed book. Or you can download a digital copy of Cadet Blues from Amazon Kindle, Barnes & Noble Nook, or Apple iBooks. Do yourself a favor and check out the novel, Cadet Blues.